Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explain series. I'm Kushagra Goel. And for yesterday's question that I had, the best part is a lot of you do the research to find out the answer, which is Article 110, right? For money bills which can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha cannot provide or can only suggest amendments but can be passed even without the consent of Rajya Sabha, and the president does not have the option to return the money bill, right? So this is a specific power that is given to money bills, under money bills, right? Now, it is always very hearty that you all find out the answers, because see, apart from the preparation that it happens through videos or any other medium that you are doing for your CLAT preparation, it always is important to remain curious, to find out things on your own, because that is what helps you analyze questions that may come beyond what you had read, right? So now moving on with regarding doubts, a lot of students had doubts about specifically with regards to the TRIPS agreement. Okay, so the TRIPS agreement is a WTO agreement that talks about intellectual properties, okay, that how you can register if it's an intellectual property of one country, or with regards if it is from another country, how can such things be used. So for example, the vaccines, right? Vaccines are intellectual property of, let's say, Pfizer, Moderna, Serum Institute, or Bharat Biotech. So they have worked on it, right? The benefit of those, monetary benefit, if it has to accrue, should go to the people who have worked hard for it. So intellectual properties protect that from happening. Notes that you are making, things that you are creating on your own are your intellectual property. So to protect that, there are IPR laws which you will be studying as a subject in your law schools when you enter there, and with regard, and world trade laws, right? WTO trade laws that govern countries, all that will be part of your curriculum for law schools, okay? But as of now, all you need to know is what is TRIPS agreement and what it does. The next thing with again about the sanctions imposed by US and Turkey, there is another editorial today talking about the same thing. So we'll be addressing that doubt then and there, okay? Now let's move on to today's newspaper. So on the front page, on the left hand side, there is a Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, has refused to allow IPS officers to go to the center. Now the question that this raises for us, okay, this is who can decide where these officers are to be deputed. So the officers of the bureaucracy of the Indian Administrative Service, Police Service, Foreign Service are appointed by the central government, and their deputation can be decided usually by the central, because they are appointed and employed by the central government. So the control over them is by the central government. But internal transfers, the power of that also lies with the state government. So that is a conflict of federal nature. How it appropriates or what is finally decided, then it matters more on a constitutional level, okay? The politics aside, it's a constitutional question. Can a state government refuse? Can you question the motive of why officers have been transferred? Okay. Now again, on the left hand side, the politics regarding the farm laws, the impasse has continued, so no real updates there. Then High Court extends protection to UP interfaith couple. So there is a lot of fear in Uttar Pradesh now that there are vigilante groups who roam around and try to take away or threaten those couples who are already married in different religions, okay? So High Court has provided protection to one such couple because they felt they were threatened by the vigilante group. So this is a law and order problem, but when you see, for example, when celebrities or member of parliaments or different important individuals, their lives are threatened, protection, police protection is provided to such individuals. Witnesses are also provided same protection, okay? So this is on the same ground that such a protection has been extended to a couple, because it's the duty of the law and order to protect individuals. On the national front, there is not much update for us. Most of it is politics with regards to farm laws. On the left hand side here, we see a picture which is about restoration of what? It's the restoration of mausoleum of Abdur Rahim Khan-e Khanum, okay, popularly known as Rahim. Now, who has done the restoration? This is a project that has been undertaken for past 6 years, curating, restoring the original state of the mosque, which is protecting our heritage, right? Because see, all these techniques of plastering is something that needs to be preserved, and only through monuments can they be done. So, restoration projects taken by whom? Interglobe Foundation and Aga Khan Trust for Culture. They were the same ones who had done the restoration of the Mosque of Humayun in Delhi. Okay. Now, this is the information that you need to keep in mind here. Apart from that, on the editorial front, okay. Moving on to the editorial front, on the left hand side, shackles and ties. India and UK must not allow concerns of the moment to dominate their relationship. So this is an editorial because the Foreign Secretary of United Kingdom is in India, and it is preparing for celebrations of Prime Minister of United Kingdom to be the chief guest of Republic Day parade. So it is stating how India and UK need to strengthen their ties. Prime Minister Modi has moved ahead of creating the strategic partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership, that is to have a free trade agreement with United Kingdom. Whether that actually fructifies or not is something to be seen, okay. So once that happens, it matters more. Then sanctions overreach, okay. This was I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that with regards to Turkey and US conflict, okay. So it is stating US should realize it cannot dictate terms in a changed global order with its new powers, okay. So this is a realization. A lot of you had commented that how can US impose sanctions on different countries. So this editorial is stating the same thing, that the realities of the world are not unipolar, and a lot of countries have capability of deciding on their own their sovereign rights. And that is exactly what is this editorial stating, that see, even if the fact that Turkey, China, India have purchased this equipment, military equipment, is because it helps their strategic interest, their security interest, and because US is not going to come to protect them, it matters individually to these countries to decide their own course, and no one should dictate terms to different sovereign nations now, because the reality of the world order has changed. Nevertheless, US as a country will push its own foreign agenda. It is for different sovereign states to decide their own course. This is something that we have to keep in mind, because India is yet to get the S-400s and operationalize them. It matters more with Turkey and United Kingdom, because United States, because they are part of the same alliance system, and NATO considers Russia as a common threat to itself, okay. Then the agri reforms go back to the drawing board, okay. So this editorial again is about telling how policy framework should be created, and stating out the problems with the farm laws, okay. This entire editorial is not from an academic point of view relevant, but in general an update of what the farm laws are about. The fact that reforms in general will always help the larger players and not the medium or small farm holding is something that is realized across the globe. In India, in other countries outside where agriculture is more corporatized or liberalized in what the farm laws intend to do in India, the agricultural industry there is not labor intensive. In India, agriculture, despite contributing almost less than 20% of the GDP, employs half of the India's workforce. So where will those people go if farming is mechanized or corporatized, okay? So this is one concern. The second is talking about market access to farmers. And lastly, it's about how policymakers work in silos rather than integrating with those who will be affected. The farm laws were created in Delhi and supposed to be pushed down upon the farmers in general without consulting them, okay. So this is something that, and has a contrast been drawn to the reforms that were introduced in 1990s when Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao and Finance Minister Manmohan Singh had reigned in the reforms in India. and liberalized India's economy. The fact that then there was large-scale deprivation and reforms were something that were beneficial for the entire population at large, and only threatened big corporates who had been benefiting from the previous. This is something of a road reversal with the farm laws. Okay, generally do give it a read, because see, this is about different arguments from the farm laws, and I have addressed what they mean in crux, but you should give it a read in general. Okay, then again, putting food on at the center of India's nutrition agenda. Again, realizing that the National Family Health Survey 5 results have been underwhelming, India's nutrition and hunger has increased. So again, it is stating that how India needs to put hunger and nutrition at the center stage. People should be encouraged to diversify their dietary habits. More the public distribution system needs to be strengthened. The reason why all this needs to be done is because of sustainable development goals, which is 2 and 3, related to zero hunger and good health and well-being. Okay, so it's in general, again, different data about the nutrition in general. On the op-ed, this is the discussion about problems that children face. You all being students also, some of these problems can be common to a lot of students in general who are preparing for competitive exams also, because access to technology is not uniform. Someone may have a mobile phone, a fiber cable, a laptop, and different mechanisms to access technology, while someone will have only one mobile phone in their entire household and will have to navigate between determining or a lot of distractions that mobile phones in general create. Okay, so all of these problems that students have been facing now that the pandemic has resulted in schools being closed for up to 10 months now. Okay, then on the left hand side, converting waste to energy. Now this is about inauguration of a new waste to energy power plant in Bangalore, and stating how much reform is needed in borrowing Western technology of converting waste to energy power plants work in India, because we do not segregate wet and dry waste. This is something that is really important. If at home also you guys are not separating wet and dry waste, that affects the feasibility of such plants or composition and degradation of such waste in general, because if it becomes composite, then biodegradability of this waste also reduces. So it is really important for every one of us to segregate dry and wet waste. Okay, then moving on the national front, again, it's more or less more political rather than informative for us. One news that is really important for us is the ISRO launches a satellite for communications. Okay, so we'll be discussing this one in a little bit more depth. There is positive news on the corona side with regards to how the number of cases in country have been falling in most of the states, and deaths in general also have been falling. For the past 11 days, India has been registering less than 30,000 new cases. Okay, then there is another update. Nothing concrete has come out, but the Ministry of Sports has decided to make Yogasan a competitive sport. Okay, to promote yoga in general and create more awareness about yoga, the ministry has decided to launch competition or competitive level of yoga. Okay, and the first competition is proposed to be held in February 2021. Okay, whenever more details about how this competition is to go ahead, it matters more to discuss in general. Okay, then there is another update here. 5 parties spent 34 crore on Delhi polls. What this talks about is that political parties are supposed to disclose the amount of expenditure they have undertaken during an election campaign and what sources they got it. The news also states how the Bharatiya Janata Party and the NCP and Communist Party of India have not disclosed their expenditure for the Delhi elections, and it is stated this is a violation of a Supreme Court judgment, which was Common Cause versus Union of India. Okay, so this is a principled Supreme Court law where political parties are supposed to disclose their expenditure. Okay, now that is it from here. There is another update. A new plan for the Central Vista project has been put by the government, where they have dropped the PMO residence that was also planned to be built. Another interesting thing here is earlier the entire Central Vista project was including the new parliament building for which Prime Minister Modi laid down the stone laying ceremony. Now in this entire expenditure, which has increased from original 11,700 crore has risen to 13,450 crore, does not include the expenditure on the new parliament building, and the government has dropped the plan to create the new PMO residence. The panel has stated that such kind of work is piecemeal and a more comprehensive plan needs to be provided. Only after approval of this can more concrete planning or construction for the Central Vista can go ahead. Okay. Now moving on. Again, on the sporting front also there is nothing new for us. On the international level, WHO has started investigation about the origins of the coronavirus, which started from Wuhan in China last year. WTO will be sending a team of experts and will be retracing how the outbreak began in Wuhan. Only then we'll be able to identify whether the virus, being a zoonotic, was the origin from which animal or what species. Okay, only once this investigation is complete, the entire story behind origin of the coronavirus COVID-19 can be finally disclosed. Till now only all of this is speculation. It is a zoonotic virus, but where did it come from? Did it mutate from two different viruses? All of that will be known. China had been blocking this investigation of WHO. WHO has been criticized in general for not being able to do or being hard on China. Okay, so we'll have to wait for the investigation to come out. Okay. Then on this economic front also there is no new update for us. Moving on to the main news, okay, which is ISRO has launched a new communication satellite. So this is the second launch post the pandemic or lockdowns. Okay, the more important information is the name of the satellite launch and the orbit in which it was launched. Okay, so it's a communication satellite for mainland and the two islands Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep, and will help in disaster management or whenever disaster strikes, a secondary modality or method for connection. Okay, but what is another update within this article is what matters more for your preparation point of view. M. Sivan, the chairman of ISRO, has stated that the next launch of PSLV or by ISRO will be launching the India's first private satellites. Okay, completely private satellites. Till now, satellites that have been launched by ISRO as of now have been created along or majorly by ISRO. ISRO is a government agency funded by the government of India. So the satellites launched by ISRO are also government satellites. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, government had liberalized the sector and provided that private companies can also create satellites and ISRO will help them launch it. Okay, so now the first satellite, main satellite to be launched by ISRO, which will be totally a private satellite, is known as Anand. Okay, by Pixel India. The company will be Pixel India. Two other secondary satellites will also be launched: Satish Sat by Kids India and Unity Sat by a consortium of different universities of India. Okay, so which will be the first private company created satellite in India? It will be Anand by Pixel India. Till now, all our satellites have been launched by the government or created by ISRO itself, which is a government entity. So this will pave way for privatization and private companies to contribute directly to space research. China, at the other hand, has been using its state agency only, but US has now liberalized, and you can see SpaceX, Blue Origin and different companies not only just launching satellites but also launching astronauts in space to the International Space Center. So all of that, this is a different method that India is now pushing, where state agency will be there but private corporations will be helping us. Okay, so this is it for today. Not much content from the newspaper, but that doesn't mean that you stop revising or stop making notes, be consistent whenever there is more information for you all, and we'll try to do the series at an earlier point of time. With winter and all, it becomes a little difficult, but nevertheless we'll push for it to come out earlier. We're trying to contact YouTube to address the issue of subtitles, because it's something from their end that it is not being auto generated. We are in touch. Whenever the issue is resolved, or we'll find out an alternative solution for you all. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share it further. And if you are one of those who haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the update for tomorrow.